Hey guys, welcome back to A2D. Agree to disagree. We're covering the conference finals. We're going over to the Eastern Conference, and we got Celtics taking on the Miami Heat. So we had to bring on our Miami Heat boy with us to come give his Heat perspective. He knows them way better than we do. So fuck. Go ahead, big dog. What do you think? How you think it's gonna shake out?
Uh, this one's tough. I saw how the Celtics were playing against Milwaukee. I saw Tatum go off for 40. Jalen Brown. You got Williams hitting threes. What do you make? 7, 9, 8, or something like that. Like
He
it's,
shot like 20.
but still, even that's confidence. Coaches, if you have a team and coaching staff that's telling you to continuously shoot, it's only going to build confidence. So I know we saw him a couple years back and we were able to get past him and see the Lakers in the finals. This one's going to be tough. We got a new squad, so I'm ready to discuss. But I got Heat in 6, maybe Heat in 7.
Yeah, I see these two teams very, very similarly. Uh, the only reason why I'm a little bit more on the Boston train is because of Jason Tatum. I think we talk about who's the best player in this series. I think he's the best player in this series. So the Heat do have home court advantage. I mean, they're the one seed for a reason. They're playing like a one seed. They just went into Philly and close out a game, close out game 6 pretty easily. And I mean, there was no excuses. Embiid was there, Harden was there. I mean, there was no excuses. So the Heat are playing real well too. Yeah, the Celtics just closed out the Milwaukee but they are at home, and Grant Williams is not going to go off for what was it, 28 points again. I mean, he might, but the Heat are a little bit better defensively. They played team defense. They match up pretty well. It's just Jason Tatum for me. Jason Tatum to me is that guy. He's probably the best player under 25 years old in my book. He's he didn't get a lot of talk for MVP. You heard me in past shows talk about maybe he should have got a little bit more MVP talk. This series is hard for me though, to be honest with you. I go back and forth on who I think is going to win. Like my head tells me Boston. My heart tells me, a little bit differently. I'm sorry, my heart tells me Boston. My head tells me a little bit differently. So I don't know. By the time, maybe you guys can convince me. So BT, I'm gonna let you take yours, and maybe you can convince me otherwise.
I mean, I'm going with Boston too, just because you said it, Tatum, and it's not just Tatum. It's not just Tatum, dude. They got the defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, Jalen Brown. They just had Peyton Pritchard just had 20 something points in a game 7. Man, they got all kinds of guys. They got numbers too. That's why I thought the strength in the strength in Miami is numbers. They got the coach too. But man, Udoka, he's right there. I feel like he just doesn't have the experience. Obviously, Spo, you got to give him the nod because he's has the experience and he's been there and done that. But this coaching matchup, they both play defense. They're both deep. These are clearly the best two teams in the Eastern Conference. Especially with that Middleton injury, I think that's what ultimately did the Bucks in. If he's there, he's one of the better two-way players. So I think that the Bucks would be around still. That being said, man, it is what it is. These guys are here and they're worthy. Tatum is taking his game to another level, man. He's a superstar now. He's a top 5 player maybe in the league. He's up there. So the best player is Tatum, but man, they got PJ Tucker, they got Jimmy Butler, they got some wing defenders that can move, are strong, smart. So it depends, man. That boy Struce, I know Michael loves plus minus. I think Struce has the highest plus minus in the playoffs right
Playoffs.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like
Like
he
112 or something like
Yeah,
that.
he's
crazy.
going nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they find a way. Coach Spo, man, I brought him up, and I think that's a huge deal because Kyle Lowry's been in and out, but it don't matter, dude. Whether it's Oladipo, whether it's Vincent, whether Hero, like he finds a way to get the right guys on the floor at the right time, and I think that's pretty big, dude. They got home court. I think that's what could be big too. So man, I'm with you. I'm torn. I feel like just Boston though to beat that guy. They just went against Giannis, and to beat those guys, especially that Game 6 performance that he had. He went on the road, man. So I think they just are playing with a supreme confidence right now. So it got me leaning that way. But I know Jimmy Buckets lives with that same confidence. So it's tough, man. It really is tough. But I'm gonna go. Uh, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll go Boston in 6, man. But I won't be surprised to see Miami.
You did nothing to convince me. Fuck, I'm still torn.
Yeah.
You talked about defensive player of the year. Well, let's talk about another award. They have somebody coming off the bench named Tyler Hero, and this dude is that guy too. So I mean, I would think Miami has the advantage when you're talking about bench, the bench scoring and a bench play. I would say Miami has the advantage there. So, starting five, yes, I do think Boston has the better starting five, but it's, an 8-9 man rotation, especially when you get this deep. You've played, 10, 12 games in a 3-week stretch. Like it's gonna start wearing on guys. So the deeper team could come into play here. Home rest, home cooking, like that could play a little bit of factor here. The only reason I like Boston, man, is because they just won what 2 out of the 3 games in Milwaukee. They won the 2 games in Brooklyn. So I mean, they're 4-1 on the road. So I mean, them not having home court might not be a big deal if they can split in Miami. This game, I don't see this being a quick series at all. I see it going 7 and then just toss it up. And then you always talk about who the best player in the series is. And that to me, that's Tatum. So that's why I have Boston in 7. And, you can convince me to go the other way. And if Miami takes it in 7, I mean, that's the one that I would not be shocked about. It's going to be a great series. I think Boston's kind of, they've had the first series wasn't that good, but they just came out of a great series. And, Miami's kind of walked up into this point. So they're about to walk into a real team, and we'll see how that goes for them. But it's going to be a great series in my book.
I think Miami's definitely mentally prepared. I think that you coming in as the 1 seed, you having the experience from making the finals a couple of years back, you have the addition of Lowry, whether he's on the court or not, that's still a floor general. And you see him in the middle of games coaching up a Gabe Vincent or coaching up a Caleb Martin or a Max Strus, and you see how much confidence they have. Like, we didn't really need to double team James Harden because Oladipo had him locked up.
Yeah.
And Max Strus said himself, all right, well, they're going to come at me and think that defense is a weakness. I'm going to make it a strength. And he's actually proven that with being able to keep people in front of him. And then we'll go down and hit a 3 in your face and maybe even get a quick dunk on you. So I know that we say that Jason Tatum is, the best player. I don't think it's that far between him and Butler. He's actually starting to take threes. He's going to finish down low. He's going to get to, it's close. He's going to get to the line probably 10 times a game, maybe more, depending on how the refs are calling the game. Vincent can space the floor. Like you said, 6-man hero. He's going to get any shot that he wants. It's just a matter of if he's going to hit it or not. To me, he has a little bit of Kevin Durant in his blood. He doesn't have the height. But you want him to hit a step back. You want him to hit a pull-up 3. He can get to the rim.
That flow game. Yeah, he can handle. He got it all.
Very versatile. So to me, even though I'm a super Heat fan and have been back in the Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway days, it's still a toss-up only because I see how good Boston is and I see how young and hungry they are. And to your credit, I don't know if Miami's really been tested like that. I'm not saying that we can't rise to the occasion. I just don't think that they've had the same course that Boston has had to where it's like, okay, now we have confidence. Lil Pritchard coming off the bench dropping 20 and not just like, okay, I'm gonna come up and just hit a spot up 3. Like, no, I'm gonna sauce you real quick and I'm gonna pull this 3 on you, even though you're 6'10", it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So if they're hitting like that, and like you said, I don't think Grant Williams is gonna have a 30-point game, but in his mind, knowing me being a shooter, if I just drop 20 on somebody else, I can come back and drop 20 on another team, regardless of who it is. So a lot of it's going to come down to confidence and which coach is going to put the best 5 out there at the proper times. So as much as I want to say we're going to dominate, I don't see it. Boston's too good. So
yeah, both teams are too good. I don't think there's any way anybody's dominating anybody. They're both too good, man. They're both way too good. Boston, they just it's gonna be a fun one, man. I think this one's gonna be a little more competitive, a little more fun than the than the other one. The other one, you got two teams that are just hot from three. So one team can just pull away from the other one at any moment. But these two teams, I think they're so evenly matched up, man, across the board. Like you said, we got Jimmy Butler and you got Jason Tatum. And normally it's a little bit bigger gap, but playoffs, Jimmy Butler, that boy, he turns it up, man. He's been turning it up. He's been one of the best players in the playoffs, if not the best. Luka and Tatum, and then Jimmy have probably been the three best players in the playoffs so far. So like they're right there.
Yeah, and the last point I'm going to make, we didn't bring up two guys, and it's the big men. I mean, we didn't talk about Al Horford. I mean, he had a pretty good series against Milwaukee. But Bam Adebayo. I mean, who's going to have the rebounding edge in this matchup? I mean, who's going to do all the little things right? You got if Lowry plays, you got two defensive guards. I mean, who's going to get those steals at the right times? Who's going to get the offensive rebounds at the right times? Who's going to get, who's going to make the extra pass? The little things are what's going to win this series. You got Robert Williams. I mean, he's been in and out of the lineup, but he's a pretty good defensive center. He can come in and he can provide a little spark off the bench. But who shoots the ball better from three? And then you got your stars who plays a little bit better. It's going to be a good one. You mentioned the other series. The other series is going to be really offensive, just bam, 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 bam. This one's going to be more of strategic, defensive, and who's making those plays down the stretch. And my main prediction in this one is no team wins a single game over 10 points. I don't think there's going to be a single blowout in any game. They're going to be all close games. Like Boston's not going to just walk into Miami and troll them. They're not going to walk in, like they did with Milwaukee and just beat them by 30. That's not going to happen this series. Miami is too good, and they're good defensively. And, you talk about Spoelstra, they play as a team. I mean, they have silently been one of the top three teams in the league all year because they play as a team. They had a little bit, that about 2-3 weeks left in the season, they had that little bit of a downfall. I don't know what was going on. I know Jimmy Butler and Spo got into it. That seems to be like a big thing of the past. Like they are playing as a team right now, and they're probably the best team in the playoffs right now. I mean, they just took care of Philly. So, but yeah, the big man, like all the little things. Who's going to do all the little things right? Before I close it out, though, Landon, you got anything else to say as the Heat fan, man? I don't want to cut out too short.
No, we're good, man. One person that hasn't been getting a lot of recognition is Duncan Robinson.
I was going to mention him too.
Like,
I was too.
Dude, he's in my opinion, third best shooter in the league right now.
Yeah.
Behind Stephen.
But is he gonna play? He don't even get no run no more.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Is I think with putting Strus into the starting lineup and then having Oladipo come off the bench, the problem with Duncan is he's a liability on defense, and he's a liability as a playmaker. So when you're playing against the teams that they played against, I mean, even though I don't want to say they ran through Philly, but they kind of ran through Philly, they still have some athletic pieces that it's like, okay, I'm going to put Maxey on you, and he's going to run around these picks. Or even Harden at times is switching out, or Tobias Harris, Danny Green. So they have wing defenders that's going to take away one of his biggest strengths, which is coming off a pick and trying to just get the curl and hit a three. In this series, I kind of feel like it's the same thing. You have too many good wing defenders in Brown and Tatum, even Grant Williams, Marcus Smart. It's tough to say we need your shooting, but you're so much of a liability on defense that you can't even really get on the court. And honestly, we're not really missing it because of Strus, because of Oladipo being able to, create turnovers on the defensive end, and then we get out in transition. And, you get a stop or a rebound, and you got Butler all the way down court, cherry picking almost, and just catching lobs over the top and then turning around and hitting the layup, So with Duncan Robinson being on the floor, we don't get those stops. We don't get those charges. We don't get those blocks. We don't get those steals. But you get that with Strus. You get that with Oladipo. You can get that with Hero. Gabe Vincent's in there taking charges like his last name is Lowry. Bam is getting blocks and stuff like that. So, again, I'm excited to see what type of chess match they're going to pull off tomorrow, because I know that there's some bitter taste in Tatum in the Celtics' mouth, especially since Bam blocked his dunk late in the game a couple of years back. So I know they're definitely coming with it. So I know they're going to be ready. I just I'm still on the fence. I want my boys to take it with everything that's in me, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics took it just the way they're playing.
It'll be a fun one, but it's going to go deep. Both teams are ready to go. They're both mentally tough. Good coaching, good coaching matchup. So, hey guys, let us know what you think. I mean, this is going to be a toss-up. I'm guessing the world's probably 50-50 on this one. So let us know in the comments what you think. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. Go ahead and follow us on Facebook. Agree to disagree. But until next time, I'm Michael. This is Brian and Landon. Take care.